Hello to everybody on Thanksgiving week. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. I have two guests tonight. Harry's here, and we got him connected last week just after we signed off. So my apologies to Harry. But I asked him to kind of show us what he's working on. In particular, he's detailing some of the heavyweight passenger cars, and we'll be getting those from Atlas end of the month or early December. So I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to turn it over to him in a second. And then I've got Jeb on from JT Mega Steam. I promised that I would try to rope him into coming on here and chatting with us for a little bit about smoke and smelling and R&D and all that kind of stuff. And so if it's okay, we'll turn the thing over to Harry first. And this will be good for you, Jeb, because you can see him screw up and you'll know, how to do it better, right?
Yeah, except the fact I don't screw up, he does.
Yeah. So let me, so those of you that don't know him, going to make him a co-host here. It'll bump him up on the screen. So we asked him to chat with us a little bit. Those of you that don't know him, Harry's a good friend of mine, and he is a model railroad artist, I would say. He's done a lot of things for me I really appreciate. And I sent him anticipating the Atlas heavyweight passenger cars coming. He showed me some pictures of things he did in the past, and I was kind of blown away. So I sent him a set of my MTH cars, nickel plate, wasn't it? The nickel plate I sent you, or Lackawanna? Lackawanna was.
Yeah, Lackawanna.
Yeah, so I sent him all of my Lackawanna heavyweight cars to do his magic on, and I've been wanting him to show us what he did and some other things he's working on. He's weathering some of my Erie Camelbacks. I think you're working on those. I'm going to send you 2 more tomorrow. But I'm going to turn it over to my friend Harry. Go ahead, Harry.
Okay, here we go. Let me get my camera going here. Okay, camera's on. Everybody see that? All right. First thing I want to show is I have 2 Lionel Oil Tanks. I have 4 of them actually, and out of the box, they're really plain. So I took these and I weathered them. And then I decided to add down here weeds and dirt and grass. So
they look great.
That's the first item, okay? And Lionel Oil tanks. I don't know what they don't call them oil tanks, but I don't know what else you would put in them. Anyway, that's those. All right. Now, the second item is a train that I weathered. This is all Lionel stuff. There's a nickel plate caboose. And these are scale Lionel Pullman standard box cars coming down here. If I'm going too fast or I'm too shaky, somebody say something. If I'm too far away.
When you get to where you want to be, hold the phone still so it's got a chance to come into focus.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right. So let's just go in on this one a little bit.
That's great.
There's a C&O. Okay, now I'm going to move down to the last one, which is a Atlantic coastline, seaboard coastline. And
beautiful.
Nothing special, just some weathered freight cars, that's all. Okay, now I'm going to take these down and move on to some engines. Okay, now the first engine is a Southern Pacific GS1. Now, what I've done to this is if you look at that tender deck, that's not the way it comes from the factory. Okay. That has been over painted, stained, and then weathered. And then the tender was weathered. Okay. And now these little gizmos here are, let me put it over here. These are, anybody know what they are? I use the Socratic method. These are brass cab curtains, brass fabricated cab curtains. Okay. These are brass. These are built up. And they're going to go, where are they going to go? Here they go. They're going to go right back here on this SP GS1, okay, which has been weathered, but not deep.
You make those cab curtains, Harry?
Yeah, they're handmade. It's what's called shim brass, and it's made to look like canvas, soldered together, and tied up with small brass wire, then resoldered, and then the actual mounting are these two little pins here, and they go into the back of the engine, the two holes, and that's what holds it on there. And then it's painted to look like canvas, like a real cab curtain. So that's a project. And the Camelbacks are going to get those too, but they're going to have to be special because Camelbacks didn't have a normal cab. Now this is a New York Central Mohawk. This is just weathered, but I just got it finished, so I thought I'd show it. And this is actually a very, very nice engine. This is one of the finest hybrid engines that I think I've had in here. They really caught the detail. They got these control rods and the booster pipes and the feed water heater pipes, and they're all hybrid details. It was very nicely done. Here's the tender. I wanted to add extra coal to this one, but the customer was going to send this thing out to a guy on the West Coast to get it legacied. And I think it's a money problem because the guy on the West Coast is very good, but he's not very cheap. And so I think that he's putting the money into the electronics as opposed to detail. Okay, now this is the first Erie Camelback. And what I've done to this so far is I've weathered it, obviously. Hope it's obvious. And then I added more coal to the coal compartment.
Cool.
Turn a big heap of coal in there to make it look real. And then I glue it in a special way so that it'll take an earthquake to break it loose. Now I'm going to put cab curtains on this thing, but they're going to have to be special because, as you notice, the rear of a Camelback is the back head. Let me get it. And so the curtains wouldn't be on front of the back head; they would be hanging down from out here, and then the side curtains would be here. So I figured out how to do it, but I just haven't made. I'll make them tomorrow, maybe. Now, this has a special detail. Can anybody see the difference in color between the lagging sheet on the boiler and the cab? Do I have enough light for you to see that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now it's a bluish color, right? It looks blue. The boiler and the lagging sheet looks blue. And the reason for that is it's what's called Russian iron. I'm not sure whether Russian iron was in the paint or was some kind of a compound they rubbed on the boilers to preserve them so they didn't rust, or it was actually part of the steel in the boiler jacket. I do not know. I talked to an expert this morning and he didn't know either. So that's 2 Camelbacks. Let's see now. The next thing I've got here is a nickel plate Berkshire. And this is a legacy nickel plate Berkshire, which is moderately weathered. And let's just real slowly go down the boiler here to look at the detail in the weathering. And you'll see there are literally hundreds of strokes.
It's fabulous, Harry.
Going down the boiler here. And this one here has a built-up coal load. But this fellow didn't want the extra details either. So that is a nickel plate Berkshire. Okay, now that brings us over to the MTH/Atlas passenger cars. So let's look at some of these. Now, I'm going to put that one here. It's so far to this one, I have weathered the roof. Okay. And then I weathered the ends. You can see the rust on the diaphragm striker plate. Okay. And then the trucks and the couplers are weathered. Here is the truck.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a coupler. You can see the rust and the grime on there. Now, this is another one here. This is another coach. Now these, can you see the little window shades inside there? Is it picking that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those window shades are 3-dimensional. They are cast resin window shades. Every one's a different height, like in the real car. Can you see those?
Yeah.
They're 3-dimensional. Okay. That's another add-on detail. And this one's weathered. The roof. You can see the weathering in the roof. Is that coming through?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a weathered roof. Now, this is an RPO. And it had some interior detail. I was impressed with it. Here's the RPO. I had a little figure in there. And mail sacks. And then in the baggage end, I added some crates with little Tropicana decals on them. And this goes inside here's the RPO here. Here's what it looks like. And it also was weathered. And what I'm going to do with these things, they come with lights, but they are incandescent lights, and they are very, very weak. So I want to put LEDs in here in an attempt to show, since they're going to have interiors, to show off the interior. Okay. Now, speaking of interiors, this is a finished interior for one of those coaches. Okay. So it's got little figures. I added little figures, then I painted the seats, and then I added seat back towels, which are decals, to each seat. And this improves the detail on the inside, but you have to have light to see it. So I added a bunch of figures, painted the seats, and put seat back towels on them as an option for the customers. Okay. Now this is a underbody. This is an underbody module with the water, with the ice and water boxes, ice and battery boxes. Every car has one of these, and that's weathered. It goes down at the bottom of the car, but it goes down there. Okay, now this is a baggage car. This is a baggage car, and I haven't secured the shell yet. It's weathered, as you can see. Baggage cars are weathered more heavily than the other cars. You can see the rust on the sides and the grimy black roof. And then these are the interior details. And I'll probably add some figures to this too. That's a baggage car. Now, here's a finished baggage car. I put this one back together again. Okay, this is a finished baggage car. And here's the interior. It's got some barrels and a figure standing in there. And it's weathered. So this car was all up. It's got everything I could, except for the lights. I haven't put new lights in it yet. This is the observation car here. And it's got individual cast resin window shades. I airbrushed the awning in the rear. It was just the same color as the car and didn't stand out. So I airbrushed it a canvas color. That's this thing right here. Here is the interior for the observation car. I painted all the seats and tables. I put seat back towel decals on the seats and some seated figures. So all these details will be options when these cars come in. And of course, the main option will be you'll be able to get it lettered. This one's Lackawanna, but you'll be able to get a letter to your own favorite railroad. And that'll be the main option on these cars. And if you want interiors and weathering and extra details, each little option will be a little bit extra. So that is basically what I've got to show tonight.
Well, that is super. I am looking forward to getting those cars back. I will get the LEDs to you lickety split. I've got a Lackawanna Pacific custom run coming in from Lionel, in the next couple of weeks. It'll be waiting for those cars. That's going to be a beautiful train on our layout. So thank you, Harry. Any questions for Harry tonight? We got him in here and we're bugging the crap out of him.
He does very nice work.
Hey, there's Jeb.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Thank you very much, Harry.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to get Jeb on here somehow. I'm going to remove that, do this other thing. There he is.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
Can you guys see him okay? You're looking for Jeb on your screen. George, you can see him? Lionel, can you see Jeb?
I can see him fine.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Great.
Good. So let's, not Lionel. I want to make Jeb a co-host. Let's see, where did he go up here? I'll figure it. Well, you're all right. They can see you, and you got the floor. It's your place. Thank you for coming on. Tell everybody where you're at. I don't know that they know where you're headquartered.
Well, we're located in Central Virginia, sort of halfway between Stanton and Richmond, mid area. not a large populated area, but still Central Virginia. And we're pleased to be on tonight's program. Thank you, Steve, for the opportunity. And we're here to answer any questions that you might have. I've got a couple little things. We like to have fun with the products. I'm a passionate model railroader. I have been since my first American Flyer set, which didn't work very well. So my father took it back and got a Lionel instead. So I've had Lionels since 1951, I guess. And of course, been in the hobby with a lot of different aspects. I'm busy with several different things. Tonight, we're going to talk about Mega Steam, which is Mega Steam model train smoke fluid. We're very proud of it because we make it right here in Virginia, in the hills of Virginia. Someone asked, how do you get to my place? I said, well, you take the surface road till you get to the dirt road, and then that goes down to 2 trails up through the woods, and then you'll see a lot of brass piping. That's where we make the smoke fluid. He said, okay, I get the picture. We've been in business for about 15 years. The idea was that before we got involved with this, smoke fluid just came in 1 cent. And it wasn't very pleasant for members of the house, especially spouses and significant others. So the idea was that if you came up with a smoke fluid that would work in all the engines, all the scales, all the manufacturer's engines, that would have pleasant scents, it might make an impression. And it did. I can't take credit for starting the company. That was by a man named Jeff Trenholm, who was a stay-at-home father who wanted a little business. And I approached him one day after I had a sample of his, and I said, do you go to any shows? Because your product is so great. I said, the thing that makes it the best is that it doesn't smell. In the past, I would get the UPS would come by my house, as it does to a lot of yours, leave a nice package, a new engine, and I would run it, and my wife would come home from work and say, I know what you did today. You got a new engine. So with this new product from Jeff, I could use that smoke, and my wife would come home and say, oh, you must have done some of the chores or some of the things on the list, because she could not smell that there had been a new train in the house. And that's just a word of advice to any of you who might have that situation. So without a lot of added discussion, I promised to do something exciting for you, Steve. And the way we make this smoke fluid is each bottle we figured is handed about 8 times in the process. We start out with an empty bottle, which you can see here.
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. And then it goes through a process, which, we'll get this in the camera here.
Yeah, a magic process?
Magic process. And then it comes out labeled and
wonderful.
Ready to go. We actually have 50 different scents. Over the years, we've had people suggest things that they would like to have. And we feel like there's a scent for every nose, because it's very objective. Some people like one scent. Some people don't like that scent, but they have other scents. So we have everything from the Christmas scents, the Christmas pine, which is very popular with people running their trains around the Christmas tree. The hot chocolate, which is sort of a takeoff from the Polar Express. That's a favorite of all the grandkids and all the neighborhood kids. We've been talking with a lot of customers who are having open house, and they want the hot chocolate for all the kids to enjoy. A couple things that would be of interest to you all. Our smoke fluid is as I mentioned, we're really proud that it's made right here in the U.S. We're not subject to anything from overseas because it's all American made, and we control everything right here. We don't have an issue with the supply chain because we try to have enough inventory of all of our parts and all of our equipment, all the ingredients. Each of our 50 cents has its own unique formula. And we have a favorite saying, don't buy the smoke fluid from the copycats, because a lot of people over the years have tried to copy some of our scents. But ours is the original. Ours is proven, safe to use in all manufacturers: Lionel, MTH, Atlas, Weaver, even the Williams with the Sooth smoke units. The viscosity that we have, the thickness of ours is such that it'll work in all of those and not cause any problems. Even though the manufacturers from time to time tell us that you can only use theirs. And our comeback on that is, when you buy your Mercedes, the Mercedes dealer wants you to take your Mercedes to their shop to have Mercedes oil put in it. And we know that you can have that serviced almost anywhere. So our oil is good in any of those. But the manufacturers, they like to have everybody use their product. And we're not going to get rich with smoke fluid. We try to have the cost so everyone can afford it. Everyone can have fresh smoke fluid, because fresh is always better. We have a shelf life of about 3 to 5 years, depending on how you store it. One of the things I wanted to mention, this is a bottle that someone has given me. You see this rubber is wearing out. And what's happened is the person took this and just threw it in a drawer, and they let the oil go up the glass pipette, and the oil and the rubber do not mix well, so it tends to blow out. So what we suggest is, when you have the smoke fluid, if you'll clean the pipette out simply by squeezing the top of it, that way when you put it back, store it upright, the pipette's not full of fluid, and it makes this rubber bulb last a lot longer. We do sell those as replacements, because over time that rubber does tend to deteriorate. But by following that rule, it'll last a lot longer. I just had a call today from someone who has, I think he said, about 50 engines. He wanted to know how he should store them in his glass case. He runs them occasionally, but he wanted to know if he should put smoke fluid in every week or every 2 weeks or whatever. And of course, we said, well, the best solution, what we do is about once a month, we put about 5 drops of smoke fluid down in the smoke unit to just keep the wicking material pliable and wet, so that whenever you want to use it, it'll be ready for you, instead of drying out, which causes issues. A couple of neat products that we have that you may or may not be aware of. One is our eliminator. That comes in this pretty blue bottle. This is a special product that we designed. It took us about 2 years to come up with it. It's smoke fluid, but it's for cleaning the internal parts of the smoke unit. Basically, we were pretty frustrated when we would buy a new engine, because they're all primed overseas and we're not sure what quality oil they use. I've asked a lot of the manufacturers, what are they using over there to prime the engines? Well, the days that we visit the factory, it's our best oil. That's the clue, the days that you're visiting the company. But what are they doing the rest of the time? And I know there's been a lot of issues with some of the engines that have been produced, that they've had issues with them. But what we did, we designed this so that it will clean out any of that bad smell that you get with a brand new engine, and it brings it back to 0, so that if you put in Christmas pine, it'll smell like Christmas pine. If you put in hot chocolate, it'll smell like hot chocolate. It's also very useful for transitioning between different scents, so you don't just get a hodgepodge of a weird group of smells from having everything being mixed up. And in addition to that, I just say you use it just like smoke fluid. It takes about 5 filling cycles to have it smell like a lemony lime or a Sprite. And when your engine smells that way, you know that it's clean and it's ready for whatever scent you would like to use. But we're very proud of it. It's a big seller. We also suggest that people use this maybe once a month just to keep your smoke unit, prolong the life of the wicking material, and keep everything running really well. It does smoke a lot. It's a special formula that does both. It gives you a lot of smoke, but while it's smoking, it's cleaning out all of your smoke unit. The other neat product—
get rid of that crappy smell.
That's right.
It does. I mean, I use it myself. It really gets rid of the new out of the box smell for sure.
Well, thank you.
That's awful. Yeah.
That was our main purpose. We said, we've got to do something instead of just making all these scents. We've got to do something that'll help eliminate that problem. And we went through several things. One was no sense for a title for it, but that didn't make a lot of sense. Then we came up with cleanse, but that doesn't really attract trained people. So we came up with eliminator. So that's what it does. It eliminates that smell. The other neat product that we have is our Be Gone Cleaner, and that is to take away any fingerprints, smudges, smoke fluid spills, or anything. The top of the bottle is different. This is a special formula. It's not smoke fluid. We have a spray top bottle on it, and it has a pump spray on it. A few drops, a few sprays will clean up anything that, like I said, fingerprints, smudges, overspills. We recommend, and we tried during the holidays, to enclose a simple shop towel, just like you'd find at the big stores, Walmart, so on. It's soft enough not to hurt the finish. The chemical in this does not hurt paint, decals, plastic, or metal. It doesn't hurt anything. And we worked very hard to come up with something that would work and actually do the trick. And one of my testers had a vintage 19, I think it was a 23 set that he had up in the, had it stored, and it had some residue on it. He didn't tell me that he was going to test our product. We were confident it would work. And he called and said, I just used it on it and it made it look brand new. And I was like, okay, great. I'm glad that it worked. I didn't recommend that he try it on something like that for the first test, but it worked fine. And several people have commented that fingerprints or smudges or anything, they like to keep their engines looking good. Even the weathered engines, it does not affect the weathering on it. From time to time,
my daughter sent you an order today. Can you throw 6 bottles of that in my order? Send 6 bottles of that to me.
The Be Gone?
Yeah, I've not tried that. Send me 6 of those.
Sure.
Put it on my bill.
I'll also, I'll be happy to do that. I'll include some of these also, because make it easy for you. These, I got to find this camera here.
Thank you.
Yep. 6 of those, you got it. Now, we like to have a lot of fun with what we're doing. And like I said, people push us all the time to come up with some interesting scents. And I've got some in R&D that I wanted to share with you, Steve. I thought the other listeners and readers here would appreciate it. These are R&D only. They're not on our website. We occasionally will take some of these to shows just to sort of test the market. This one's Red Hots. It's like the cinnamon candy, the little Red Hots. And it's
oh, no kidding.
It's pretty close to that. it's something that may come about. We're always trying, when times are slow, we try to come up with some new things just to keep people interested in what we're doing. We have another one that's balsam. It's smells just like balsam wood. We've got a lot of ideas for that down the road. We have another one called Java. We have coffee already in our line, but Java is like a trucker's coffee. Some people like that smell of the dark coffee. So we have that. We have a couple other fun ones. Gourmet Cookie. We have had a lot of interest in a cookie scent, especially during the holidays. And then down to the fun ones, more and more people have asked us for weed. And that's like...
No kidding.
So the people in California, and I guess Minnesota now, they really suggested that we come up with weed. And for those that, somebody says, well, what's that? I said, well, grass, but not cut grass. Cut grass is already one of the scents that we have. This is the other type of grass. They say that my tester said, you've nailed it. Now I take their word for it. The last one in our R&D is we had a couple people who have farms on their layout, and they wanted things to smell just like a farm. And we came up with this. We came up with this formula that, well, let's just say we were going to call it cow pie, but then that would offend some people. So we call it barnyard. And we've had people who see this at our shows where we go, and we have it there just as a conversation piece. Oh, this one lady in particular, she said, I grew up on a farm. I have got to smell that. And I said, no, ma'am, you really don't. Well, she got it very close to her nose, and she took a great big whiff, and she called it by its right name. Let's put it that way. The words that came out of her mouth. So the idea is, we like to have fun with the hobby. We try to make a product that will make other people in the house, spouses, significant others, so on, enjoy. Not going to bother anyone, and we operate under that rule. If she's not happy, you're not happy, and it seems to work better for everyone. I have a special customer who they buy two of everything. One goes in her potpourri cabinet upstairs, and the other bottle goes downstairs in his medicine cabinet, and they decide on a given day which scent they're going to use so that the house smells uniform all the way through. There's no mix and matching. It's perfect. And they're kind of like the ultimate. If you want to have the best of the best, that's what you would want to aim for.
How's Scrapple doing? I know you had Scrapple at York. How's that doing?
Well, there was a lot of interest. I think at York this time, we didn't get all the Scrapple people that normally would have been there. We did it as we had so many requests for Scrapple. So we came up with that. And the people who did purchase it said it smells just like Scrapple, but not everybody likes Scrapple. So it's holding its own. During this time of the year, our number one seller is Christmas Pine. And our number one seller during the rest of the year is coal-fired. And we wanted a coal-fired, we inherited coal-fired, but we've changed it about 3 or 4 years ago. We made it a little milder, but we actually were able to go out to West Chicago and see the big boy, and we got up close and personal with the big boy. So we modified it so that it smells just like a real steam engine. And that's what people like with the coal-fired. And we get a lot of customers who wanted authentic smells: coal-fired, diesel, oil-fired, wood burning, depending on their particular layout and the trains that they use. So we're very careful in making sure that they're happy, because if our customers are happy, everybody's happy. Any other questions?
Can you say, do you make it in a really big vat? You know, is it like brewing beer? I mean, what does it look like, the manufacturing part? Or can you not say? Is that still too secret?
Well, we make, like if I have a big request for Christmas pine, it'll be a big operation. Most of it's proprietary because but it's all made the same way so that it's uniform. And we check every batch to make sure that Christmas pine smells like Christmas pine. If there's something wrong, it goes back in and gets reevaluated and before it goes out. When we send it out, it's ready to go. So it'll be the same quality that you had last year, the same quality present, and the same quality in the future. And again, I said, normally if you store it in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight, it'll last 3 to 5 years without any trouble.
When it starts to go, is it just not smell, or what is it? How do you know that it's expired?
The first thing will be the scent, and then you'll get a discoloration that sort of turns a light brown, and it'll still smoke a lot, but we just suggest the prices are such that, you know, fresh is always better when it comes to chemicals, and our formulas will hold up. I tell people, look, you paid a lot of money for that locomotive. Why would you, it's like using used motor oil in your car. Why would you want to do that when fresh is always best, and you'll be much more happy with it. So the first thing is the scent, though. When it starts losing the scent, then you know that it's aging a little bit. I've got customers that have bottles that are 8 and 10 years old, and they still like it the way it is, but they've really, taken very good care of it. The problem that we have this time of the year is people say, "Oh, I got the train down from the attic, and I noticed that the smoke fluid leaked all out because it laid over on its side, and can I still use it?" Let us send you a new bottle so you can have good smoke fluid for the holidays. I think our funniest story, and I may have told this before, but Steve, I got to tell you tonight, Christmas Eve, we're closing down a business, folding up everything, putting everything away, turning out the lights, and just going to enjoy the Christmas Eve. And I get a phone call from a gentleman who says, I got your order. It came the other day, and he says, I got the train set up under the Christmas tree. But he says, I got to have some help. I hope you're still open. I said, well, I'll try to help you. He says, I don't know where to put the smoke fluid. I said, well, do you have a diesel or a steam engine? He says, buddy, I don't know. I'm not interested in trains. I don't know what I have. So I had, is it pretty shiny? Does it have a streamlined look to it? Is it just black? He says, yeah, it's just kind of black. And I said, well, put your hand on top of the engine, and there's bumps up there. I said, okay, then you've got a steam engine. So I said, do you have a owner's manual? No, the kids tore that up a long time ago. I said, well, take a flashlight if you have one. He said, hold the phone. I'll go get one. So he got a flashlight. I said, shine down in that top thing on the front of the engine. What do you see down there? He says, well, I see some white stuff and like some little wires and stuff. I said, great. You have a smoke unit. Because if you can shine all the light all the way through, you don't even want to be putting smoke fluid in the engine. So he goes, okay. So how much do I put in? I said, well, start out with about 5 to 10 drops. He goes, okay, hold the phone. I'm going to go put it on the track and see what happens. How much current do I put on? I said, well, turn it up about halfway. So hold the phone again. So he comes back and he says, it's smoking great. He says, you saved Christmas. The kids are going to be delighted tomorrow. So after about 20 minutes of talking to him on the phone, we felt like, you know, it's going to be a good Christmas for those kids. So we're happy that we could help him with it.
Good for you. Well, thank you very much. Any other questions for Jeb? Anybody? All right, buddy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.